If you're alive, and there's no Thomas, then you never took him from me, did you? And I can't save Dorian. Is that what you want me to believe? After all you've done to me? And to him? You're not a lie, but you're a liar! You crawled into me to confuse me and deceive me. But I know he's here. I know you have him. I'll give you my life. That's what you want, isn't it? My soul. Take it. I'll be a slave for you. I'll fight with you at Ragnarok. If you release it. I've got nothing left. No fear. No hate. No quest. Nothing.
I learned the hard way to not be afraid of death, Senua. Because a life without loss is one without love. You turn your back on death, and all you can see is the shadow that it casts. The longer you hide from it, the longer the shadow grows until all you can see is darkness. When our time comes, we must look death in the eye and embrace it as a friend. Only then can we let go of our fear. And emerge from our darkness.
Never forget what it is like to see the world as a child, Senua. Every autumn leaf is like a work of art. Every rolling cloud a moving picture. Every day a new story. We too emerge from this magic, like a wave from the ocean, only to return to the sea. Do not mourn the waves, the leaves and the clouds. Even in darkness, the wonder and the beauty of this world never leaves us. It is always there, waiting to be seen again.
Oh no. Oh. It's the rot. The darkness is back. The darkness is back. Wait. What is it? It feels... It's different. It feels... It's okay. Is it okay?
This is where my story once began.
It's different.
And so it has to end here.
It's changed.
Because I cannot see further than this.
Follow us. We have another story to tell.
My friend, go with her. This now will be your story to witness. Goodbye.
There could be a symbol. Nope. Oh, all right. So that was Hellblade. So this is where I typically just give a quick off-the-cuff review, what I think of it, all that stuff. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I fully admit I couldn't keep up entirely with the story, like, especially what happened at the end. Like, because obviously they were hitting on the idea that, you know, this whole darkness thing was made up. Like, we talked about that before too, right? Like darkness not even being a real thing, or like it being attributed to her illness, and then they just blame everything that happens that's completely unrelated on the illness, like the plague and stuff like that, which obviously she had nothing to do with. But they're superstitious people, so they just blamed it on her, invented this whole idea, the darkness and all that other crap. But the question is, like, so in the game world, did any of this stuff actually happen? Like, did she actually go through all of this, or was this all kind of like a mental battle that she had, like a representation of the struggles that she had with thinking like, oh, you know, I can still save him somehow if I can, you know, get his soul back from, you know, from this god and whatnot. And then, but she finally realizes, after kind of dealing with the troubles or the issues head on, that there isn't any way to get him back. There's no saving him. He's gone. And she just kind of faces that fact. So I don't know. Like I say, I don't know if all of this was supposedly in her head, or if the fight was real. Like, she actually did go to these places, but the truth of the matter was that she couldn't save him, because they even mentions, like, well, the dad says, well, you know, in response to her saying, oh, you made up the darkness, you invented the darkness, it's not real, he said something like, well, if that's true, if you're right, then the whole idea that the darkness has his soul is also false, so therefore you can't get him back. So going along those lines, I would think it would make sense that at least a lot of that didn't actually happen, if not like all of it. So yeah, I feel like I'm missing some vital, obvious clues there, but because like if the darkness isn't real, and she faces that at the end, well, the darkness isn't real, and so therefore his soul was unsavable, then like how much of that could have happened? I guess technically she could still have went to these places where the gods and whatnot exist, but the actual darkness aspect was itself made up. All the other stuff was real. So maybe that's more in line, right? Like the actual battles and stuff she actually did face, but this whole darkness thing was made up. Maybe, I don't know. If anybody knows in the comments, let me know, because I'm sure somebody's got it figured out who's not me, but I always have struggle figuring that stuff out. Anyway, to continue what I thought of the game, like the combat system was, again, it was fairly basic, but I feel like there was more to it than initially what it feels like, because at first it's like, oh, light attack, heavy attack, dodge, maybe block once in a while. Okay, it's pretty basic, but then once you realize doing certain combos would execute certain special attacks, like the stab attack, which would stagger them and probably do a whole bunch of damage. There was a few other combos like that. The parrying system. It feels like there were certain ways to follow up a parry in some cases. Learning how to deal with certain enemies, like the shield guys, so that you can like kick them. And with the combos, mixing your combos, like kicking seemed to extend your combo a little bit. It felt that way. I don't know if it actually did or not, but they actually did feel like there was more depth to the combat. Special attacks when you dodge, things of that nature. The charging attacks, all of that. So I do feel like there was more to it than initially felt like, and it did feel good. Though near the end, they definitely overdid the enemies. I realize we're playing on hard, but at some point it just gets a little bit old fighting enemies. Especially like I cut a good bit of the last fight out because it was just like you basically fight until you eventually die. I kind of figured that was the case given what they were saying in your head when you fell, but yeah. If you'd like to find out more about Psychosis, cool. I like how they're warning you after the game is over. Maybe a little bit late for that. But the sound design was really good too. The voices, like that was really weird and creepy. And the way they warn you about attackers, that's really cool. the way they would flip between helping you and just being total buttholes. Anyways, and again, if you don't have headphones listening to this, you don't really feel like the way they're just whispering right into your ear. It's really weird, really creepy. But it worked really well. Oh, wow, you can't. Oh, I guess you're done. Hellblade feature, what is this? Just curious what this is. Oh, okay, so it's like a thing. Okay, well, we're back out of that. If you want to see that, you should play the game yourself. But to kind of quickly wrap up here, sound design was fantastic, was important in this game, and it worked really well. The story was interesting. Again, as always, any kind of remotely complicated story, I'm going to get lost in because I can't remember bits and pieces of it that you need to put it together. But overall, I did enjoy it. It definitely kept me guessing, like, okay, is this really happening? Is this all in her head? Is it partially in her head? What's up with this darkness thing? All of that. There's a good variety in the stages and the types of things you do, sort of. A lot of it was rune finding, which was, it was interesting. It wasn't that difficult. It was usually, once you kind of got how it worked, it was fairly obvious. It felt like it was there more as a way to make it so that you're interacting with the game. But to me, it helped with the pacing, and overall, the pacing felt really good. There were some parts where I had to run around a lot, and that felt like it hurt the pacing a little bit. But overall, I think the pacing was really, really good overall. But as far as overall rating between 1 to 10, 10 is like amazing, absolutely must play, classic. 5 is like an average game. Yeah, it's got about as much good as it does bad. So I don't use the IGN scale where a 7 is a bad game. A 7 is actually a really good game. I would put this, I'd honestly put this at about an 8. I'd say this was an 8. Definitely worth a play. And now, if you've watched somebody play it, I guess you could argue maybe not, but you really don't get the full experience without doing it yourself, fighting in that claustrophobic camera angle, hearing the voices in your head telling you to dodge, all that other stuff. I definitely think it's worth a playthrough. And like I say, I really enjoyed it. The story was interesting. Like, all the pieces came together, and it just worked really well. A lot of things that would not have worked in any other game made a really great experience here, and I definitely suggest checking it out. As far as a price, I always give a price what I think you should pay for it. I think it's $40 right now, I think is the full price. Would I say it's worth that much? Given the type of experience it was, I'd say yes, because there's no other game that I could say, well, this is a bit expensive, but go play this and you'll get a similar experience. I can't tell you of a game like this. This feels like a fairly unique game to play through and to finish to completion. So if there was another game like this, if this was just like another FPS that was really good, but comparable to like Doom and things like that, I would say, maybe not worth that much. But I would say full price, $40 if you really like the experience it yourself. Otherwise, if it goes down, or if and when it goes down to like $20, I'd say you can't lose. Like $20, I think you're gonna do yourself a service, buy the game and experience yourself. Make sure you have headphones as well. But anyway, that is it for me. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you leave comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you think or know the story was about, like what was really going on. I'm really interested to hear you guys' take on it. Like my videos if you like them. That does help me out a bunch. Thanks again to Travesty for your continued support on Patreon. Very much appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next Let's Play.